Welcome to Monday Night. Initiate the Monday Night Rants Sports Show. The show about sports news, insider fantasy info, entertainment, comedy and more. Number 682nd watch show on Monday night. Start the show in 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome. It is Friday night, another show. Yes, that is right. Another Monday Night Rant is upon us. That means it's 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Monday. A lot to talk about tonight. We're going to do our whole football wide receiver breakdown later with every receiver. I have a top 50 and a couple of other ones even below on really, really deep leagues in case you wanted to get absolutely crazy there. So we'll be talking about that later. So we did running backs last week, quarterbacks. Check it out in the previous ones on MondayNightRants.com to catch up. Next week we'll be doing tight ends, defense, and kickers all together in one little grouping there because we're not going to spend a half an hour talking about tight ends. That would just be ridiculous. We could, but nah. Why do that when we can add defense and kickers? I know everyone wants to know about those kickers too. I know my sleeper kicker will be in the mix on that one as well. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Thank you guys for watching, listening to the replays wherever you are. It's been fun doing this. We're going to continue to do it all the way through football and in. Real quick, the Fantasy Football League. We still need like 3 more people. I've sent some emails out. I'm still waiting for people to join. I sent them the link already. So join the league. Send me a direct message with your emails. We want to get to 12. We're at like 8 or 9 right now. So it'll be fun. Live draft 17th of August. It'll be a blast. So get your email addresses to me in the direct message. And also next week we're going to be simultaneously streaming not just on Facebook but also on YouTube. And also on our website on MondayNightRants.com. You can watch live on that site as well, so you're not stuck to the Facebook and all that good stuff. So we'll have that ready for you next week. Is everybody enjoying the World Cup? I know I am. At first I was like, USA isn't in it. I was just like you. Who cares? USA isn't in it. How fun has it been? I mean, it's been awesome. I'm just watching the games today. I don't know if you watched now they all play them in the same group at the same time, and there's points, and people try to go to the next round, and it's just really epic and drama-filled. Today was crazy. Iran had a beautiful chance at the end, missed a shot that would have probably kicked in Ronaldo, who I don't think has taken off his shirt yet. I don't think anyone takes off his shirt as much as Ronaldo does when he scores goals. We get it. You score goals. You don't need to take off your shirt every time. But Iran had a chance to knock Portugal out. They didn't at the end. A great opportunity, just missed left. And those guys, man, I felt so bad for them. They're crying everywhere. It showed this guy in the fans. I have to laugh. It's sad, but he had red here, white here, and green here, right? So 3-tone face, and he was crying, and the green tears were flowing down his face. And I was like, oh man, that is one of the saddest things I've ever seen. But it's been so much fun, a lot of drama, a lot of teams winning that we shouldn't have, teams not winning that we thought would, and I'm having a good time. And I thought Germany was doomed. They came back. What a game that was over the weekend. I don't know if you saw that. They scored in the last second to keep their chances alive. It looks like they'll go through. Actually, they have the team to do it. I think they'll be fine. But Sweden had them there on the ropes for a little bit. It was quite fun. So I'm enjoying watching that. We'll see how it goes. We're going to keep on watching it all the way through the knockout stages, which is then it goes to penalties. There's no more points involved. That'll be fun as well. No USA, but I'm having a grand time. And I still don't have a favorite or who I'm even rooting for. I'm just kind of rooting for underdogs all the time, really, which makes it even more fun. But I kind of got a liking to Switzerland after seeing them play. So there you go. Jesse, thank you. He said, yum, yum, Eddie baby on the mic. Don't know what that means. It sounds sexual, but thanks, buddy. Also, last week, the NBA draft, we did a full NBA draft kind of first round analysis a couple weeks ago. It happened, and just as I expected, everybody was wrong after 1-2. Everybody. The first ones were kind of in the bag. We knew it was going to be get it in the bag, in the Bagley. Bagley went second, of course. Ayton went first, and after that, it just all sorts of randomness, and I was kind of really disappointed. Normally, there's like a lot of trades and a lot of big names getting thrown around, and it really wasn't that this year. It was kind of lame, to be honest. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I normally do with all the trades. You never know what's going to happen, but there was a few like the Doncic or Doncic or whatever his name is was traded for Trae Young. I don't really know why they did that. I'm talking about the Atlanta trading Dallas to switch him, so they ended up with Trae Young, even though they drafted Doncic and he went to Dallas. I thought, why didn't Atlanta just keep Doncic? I mean, isn't he the better prospect? I mean, everyone says he's the number one player in the draft, and you're going to trade him for Trae Young, who, yeah, he has his moments, but are they the same? I would rather have Doncic on that team if I were them than Trae Young at that. So that was kind of disappointing. The Clippers, you know how great they are at their draft picks, going ahead and, they had the two back-to-back. Why they had to trade up to get the point guard, I really don't know. I must have been a money thing or something. I have no idea. But Charlotte ended up drafting him, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Kentucky, and went ahead and traded him to the Clippers for Miles Bridges. I like the kid. I think he'll be fit right in there. They need a true point guard that doesn't get hurt all the time. And but I don't understand the Jerome Robinson pick there. I know he's a high ceiling type of guy. He was great in the ACC for Boston College, but when Michael Porter Jr. is just sitting there, and he's probably could be one of the top 5 players in the draft, and you don't get him at all, and he goes the very next pick, of course, to Denver, and he'll probably kill the Clippers for the rest of his career. That's the way it always works with the Clippers. I even, right after they drafted Jerome Robinson, I texted Anthony, and all I sent him was, with the 13th pick, the Clippers take, who? What's his name? So I was a little, we'll see. I don't want to say I'm disappointed in it, but I just think that maybe they could have done a little better there. Of course, the Knicks booed their draft pick. What's new? They got Kevin Knox from Kentucky. Don't mind the pick. Never really high on him. The Knicks seem to do that every year, but hey, Porzingis was booed too, and we saw how that worked out. So, I think the Knicks just enjoy just booing in general. I think they just enjoy it. I think they like booing more than they like cheering. So they just get so used to booing all the time, being a Knicks fan, that whoever draft or whoever plays or whoever's there, they just boo. Because it's pretty. All New York fans, the Jets fans do that too in the NFL draft. No matter who they get, they boo. They boo. New York fans just boo. I don't know why they boo. They were booing Giancarlo Stanton the first week of the baseball season. What is up with that? Give them a chance. Jeez. Don't boo them until they really, really suck or really, really screw you over. That's all I got to say. Don't boo until they actually destroy the team or talk crap on the team or talk crap on the fans, then boo them. Don't boo them because they were drafted. You don't know what they're going to do. Knicks fans, you don't know what they're going to do. Don't boo them. New York maybe just a booing city. I don't know. And it's just ridiculous. Stop booing until they do something. I didn't boo the Clippers pick. I just went, huh? Or who? What's his name? I didn't boo. I'll give the guy a chance. But if he comes out and, turns the ball over 5 times every game and doesn't get more than 5 points and can't make an assist, then yeah, I may boo the guy. But at least I gave him a chance. There's my rant. I just made that rant up right now, the booing. It irritates me during the drafts. Don't do it. You don't know. You're not in the war room. You're not on the team. You don't own the team. You don't know the stats and everything that these guys know. Don't boo picks before they even get a chance to play on the court or play on the field. Don't stop it. You're not a manager of a team. You're a fan of the team. You have no say. You don't know what's going on. Stop booing. Only boo if they're just terrible, terrible people. Or, who should have got booed? The guy that punched the girl in the restaurant when he was drafted by Joe Mixon. You can boo him. I didn't hear him get booed when they drafted him. No, but you're going to boo this poor kid Knox from Kentucky, who's actually a really good basketball player and could be a great 1-2 with Porzingis, but you're going to boo him because he's not the name you wanted. Oh, I want to cuss right now. I'm not going to do it. Stop booing. Boo you. I'm going to boo you for booing. All right, enough of that. I probably just killed off half our listeners right there. Sorry. Let's bring before we end this draft talk, let's bring on the guys and see if they have any analysis or insight on I think one of the most lame, boring drafts I've seen in some years. So let's bring them on. Anthony and Josh. What's going on, gentlemen?
There we go. Hello.
Hello. You were live on Monday Night Rants. Welcome.
Let's boogie oogie.
Sorry for the rant there. It came out of nowhere, but it really does irritate me that these people boo before the players actually get onto the court or onto the field for the team. They're not a general manager. They're not on the team. Stop it. They don't play for the team. All they do is buy the team's jersey. That's it. It's irritating. Does that irritate you?
You know what? I thought it did, but compared to you, I don't even think it's close at all, Edward. I don't even think it's close. It is crazy. You see these emotions coming out so fiercely for, especially the NBA, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who their lives have changed for the rest of their lives, not only for them, but their families, their loved ones, wives, kids, whatnot. Their lives have changed for the better. Their dreams have come true. And the first thing you hear when you get up from your table and you're hugging your mom is a crowd full of boos.
It's a bunch of drunk, overweight Knicks fans in jerseys booing at you. That's all it is. They don't know anything. God, they don't know. They don't know what this kid's going to bring to their team. They have no idea. All they know is it's not a name that they wanted. Where did Knox go? 9, right? So Colin Sexton was already gone. Wendell Carter Jr., Bomba's gone. Trae Young's gone. Jaren Jackson's gone. Who were they expecting them to get at that? Bridges? Did they want Bridges at that? Who were they expecting them to get that they would have cheered? I think any person left on the list, if they would have named, they would have been booed, except for maybe Michael Porter Jr.
And that's where I was going to say is during that draft, right before they made that pick, they were chanting out Michael Porter Jr., and I think it was a disappointment of not getting him. But like you said, just like that kid, they showed the kid once again, the one that cried when Porzingis was drafted, and 6 months later, he ate his words, this little 12-year-old kid, and now he's wearing his jersey at the draft, the next year. And what does he do?
He cries.
He's crying.
Because he got Kevin Knox. Yeah. And by the way, people, this is not cries of excitement either. These are booing people who are crying out of disappointment for these players. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Jets fans do it, and other teams do it too in the NFL. And it's like, wow. Like, what? Do you know something that this organization who spends millions and millions of dollars on coaches and people who go out there and scout all these players, do you know something that they don't after you're done with your 12 Bud Lights and your nachos? Do you know something that they don't know? I don't understand it.
Hey, I don't appreciate you saying 12 Bud Lights and nachos. I think we're talking about the same person right there.
Okay.
It's me. No. I think it's a good point. It's like I think sometimes as fans we get lost into the moment, and think of being a Knicks fan. Like, it's been so tough over the years, and I think they're just grasping on straws. They're looking for something, And no matter what happens, I figure they're like Eagles fans. They're going to boo their first round pick, or Jets fans. And
Eagles fans booed Santa Claus, remember? So they're on my list too.
Well, if you're booing Santa Claus, there got to be something wrong. But then again, look at all they're booing.
Jewish.
Oh, wow.
Jeez. Wow.
Well, everybody, welcome Josh to the show.
Hey, there's a reason we have a star.
Yeah, that's it, right? Oh, man. So, Josh, what do you think about this whole booing thing?
There's a reason why they didn't show the Brooklyn Nets fans.
Oh, dude, yeah. Well, they didn't have a pick until, let's see here. Brooklyn didn't pick, 29th overall, and they picked Daznan Musa from Bosnia. Wow.
And there's a reason why they didn't show they were non-existent there. There was no fans to even cheer or cry.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of fans in general there, so that's
my point.
Yeah, so that's probably it. Yeah, they need to do something, and that franchise. You can get Jay-Z needs to get on it. Stop making music videos with his wife and start working on getting people to fill those seats there in Brooklyn, because it is bad. It is bad. So,
like you said, Jay-Z and Beyonce will start doing those concerts, and everybody will start showing up.
There you go. Anthony, anyone you think went in the draft who you think will have a steal maybe in the first or second round, if you want to go crazy, could be a little sleeper for the team in both fantasy and regular next year?
I'm kind of looking at my list. I kind of like, I don't want to sound like a homer, but I think I got to do it. Whatever the Warriors do, it just turns into gold. And I think being able to get Jacob Evans late in the first, he adds to already a stout shooting team. Evans comes in. He's a solid shooting guard, played a couple years at Cincinnati. And that's the thing about it. This year in the draft, you've seen a lot of juniors and seniors getting drafted, especially for Villanova, who just won the national championship. You've seen these guys who have played a few years. Just because, maybe their upside's not that great, but you know what they're going to do. And Evans is one of those guys. He's going to come in. He's going to play defense, which a lot of times players in the NBA just don't do nowadays. So he's going to come in, play D. He's real physical. He's a big guy.
Smart guy, too. He has a really high IQ. I know that. Oh,
huge high IQ. And everywhere he's gone, from high school to college to now, he's always overachieved. So you know he's going to work. And that's one thing you can't measure. We got to remember when Steph Curry was drafted by the Warriors, the Timberwolves had 2 first-round picks in front of them. They drafted 2 point guards in front of Curry. So it just kind of shows you that you don't know those intangibles until you have it in your
Basketball's definitely the toughest one to get right. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. So, no, I kind of like what they did. I'm real happy to see those Villanova guys, especially those juniors and seniors, get drafted. So I kind of give some hope for some of these guys to stay in school. Not like you have to leave right after your freshman year if you're not ready. So it was kind of good to see them stay in and get rewarded.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. But, as far as the draft in general, there's a lot of outside of the big name guys that kind of went, the DeAndres and the Porters and the Bagleys and whatnot. There wasn't really that marquee player. I'm hearing big news about next year's draft.
Next year's draft will be a lot better, I think. A couple of sleepers I have. I think the Pacers getting Aaron Holiday at 23 is a steal. I think he's going to make it an immediate fantasy impact on that team as well. For the Pacers, he's a solid player. He can pass. He can shoot. He's a smaller guard, but he'll hit those long range jumpers, and he scored over 20 points per game last season. In the Pac-12, there's a lot of teams that can have players that can do that in that league. But he's a great passer, and I think he's gonna get a lot of assists. He hasn't turned the ball over that much. I think that's a great pick there at 23. I actually had him going a lot higher, so I think that's a steal. Also, for some reason, the Spurs do this every year. They end up with Leonard the same way. At 18, getting Lonnie Walker out of Miami, I think, is a good pick for them. He does have his injury woes, of course. But I think that's a great pick at 18 there, especially with the Bucks going after Dante DiVincenzo. How do you say his last name? DiVincenzo, the Villanova shooting guard.
Yeah.
I think that opened the door for Walker to go to a better situation there in San Antonio. So like that, Grayson Allen going to the Jazz. I mean, what a perfect fit for him, to be honest. I couldn't think of a better team for him to go to than the Utah Jazz. Just so perfect in every possible way. Justin says that the real winner in Dallas for getting Doncic's the real winner is Dallas for getting Doncic's mother. So I gotta look that up real quick. Let's look up. You guys look it up too. Let's see if we can find a picture here.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna have that image on my search history, so not gonna get in trouble. Not gonna happen.
Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, she's a bombshell. Great. Okay, so that's good. Great, Justin.
I see Justin has some different criteria when he's looking at prospects.
Yeah, and yet he still knows more than the Knicks fans about Knox.
Right, the combine is a little different over there for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, I think Mark Cuban had his own.
There you go.
wish list.
Another sleeper I have is Robert Williams. He dropped all the way to 27 to the Celtics. They could definitely use him. They needed that to help in the Game 7 push against the Cavaliers. That big center that can rebound and help out when Horford goes out. So, as you know, he's due to miss some time with injury, and I think Robert Williams dropping all the way to them was a no-brainer. Other than that, like I said, it was a pretty... the second round was just like, what the heck? It just wasn't the NBA draft we're used to. Like I said, it was kind of lame, kind of boring this year. But I think those are the players. Fantasy value-wise, obviously the first four, or even Colin Sexton will have huge because he'll be the starter right away next year. And also look for Aaron Holiday to make an impact as well. All right. Well, we're about 8 minutes early, but I think we can get right into the wide receiver. You guys ready for that?
Yes.
Are you ready for it, though? Okay, so before I say anything and ever see what any of these things these wide receivers do for the whole year, I'm going to pull a Knicks real quick.
Boo, you suck.
I'm just kidding. I'm going to boo them before their season even starts, because that's what I do now. I'm going to join the bandwagon and start booing people. Become the people that I hate. But I have an interesting list. I've worked on it for quite a long time of my receivers. It wasn't as much of a no-brainer, I feel, as the quarterbacks or the running backs, because receivers are so... One thing I look at, and you should too, all of you, especially in fantasy football with receivers, is game flow. These teams. It's good to listen to our show, to watch our show, to go online and research where people project these teams where they're going to be, their records. Why I feel Cincinnati's a terrible team. Why I don't want any part of any running back on that team, because they're always going to be behind in every game and trying to throw, right? So game management is a really important part of choosing your receivers in my eyes. Just looking and everything about what teams are going to do, who's on the team now. Free agents, huge. Like Allen Robinson moving to Chicago, huge, opens the door in and Allen Hurns moving opens the door a little bit there in Jacksonville. We'll talk about that later. Who's the number one there? And in game management is in this. What team you feel is gonna be behind for a lot of their games? Because if you're behind, you got to throw the ball. And if you throw the ball, the receivers are in better spots. Okay, so a lot of it is what you think the records are going to be, what quarterbacks you believe in. Also, if you believe in a quarterback, you should probably believe in the receivers. I believe in Case Keenum. I've said that multiple times. So I believe in the receivers, and I have them ranked high because I believe in Case Keenum. So if you rank high on a quarterback, you should probably rank high on the receivers. It goes hand in hand. There's that strategy that a lot of people do. If they get the receiver, they get the quarterback too, because you get double the points. Right? That's a good strategy. I do that all the time. Sometimes I don't mean to do it, but I do it anyways. It doesn't necessarily proven to work. Yeah, you get multiple points for that, but if you have a quarterback who throws a touchdown on another team, it still counts the same too. But it's kind of fun to have and cheer on. So that's a strategy if you want to go for it. I've never seen any true advantage of it, but it's kind of fun. Like if you wanted Rivers and Keenan Allen, and which I may end up doing, you end up with that Oh, every time he throws it to him for a touchdown, you just jump a little bit higher up in the air and cheer, I guess. So here we go. I'm going to get rid of all this draft notes I have here. The World Cup, guys, have you guys been watching the World Cup real quick?
Oh, you know it.
Yeah, what have you guys seen so far that you've liked? I've already talked about it a little bit. I like the drama of everything and kind of rooting for the underdogs. I know Anthony's all about Mexico. We'll see what they can do. Josh, do you have like a favorite that you've been kind of rooting for?
I'm with all this. I've been rooting for Belgium, actually.
Belgium, huh? You like them waffles?
Yeah, I like the waffles and the French fries, actually. But honestly, the one thing that's getting me excited is all these last-minute scoring.
It's been awesome,
especially in the latest games today.
Yeah,
it just showed.
Dude, watching that Iranian fan cry, his face paint down his face it hurt me. It got my heart, man. It was sad.
I'm with you. But yeah, all these games have been really tight for the most part, but it's just been really fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm kind of going for Switzerland a little bit because I feel Shaqiri is going to Liverpool. I'm a Liverpool fan. I've seen both their games, like one of the few I've seen I've been going for them. I'm not really on Belgium as much as I was because if I have to watch that stupid Volkswagen commercial one more time that says, America, you're not in the cup, but root for Belgium because we have the biggest dance festival in the world. And the guy's flashing the lights on the car. If I have to watch that commercial one more time, I may lose my shit, to be honest. I'm sick of it. They should have done more different countries. I mean, what about root for Iran or root for Saudi Arabia? No, it's just Belgium and then like the Iceland girl with the guy doing the wave in the back and the Swiss Army knife, and that's it. But the Belgium one is always the first one. I'm like, oh my God, if I have to see this guy one more time tell me to root for them because they have an EDM festival. I don't even like EDM. If I'm going to Belgium, I'm going for the waffles. That's it.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah, jeez, enough with the commercial Volkswagen. Man, I hate that when it's like the same commercial every time. It's like mix it up a little bit. Okay, anyways, we lost track there. Let's get back to football. Anthony, anything about the Belgium commercial?
You know what? Not really. I haven't really noticed too much, to be honest. All right. But I know I will definitely play it next time you're over the house.
Oh, you're gonna record it. You're gonna put it on the DVR. We'll be watching the Raiders Charger game, and you're gonna pause it and play that just to piss me off. I know you are. Root for Belgium. We have an EDM. No one cares. I don't even who watches soccer in America and listens to EDM. Is that a thing? I don't even know if that's a thing.
It's my thing now.
Okay.
I'm going to start it now. Oh, man. But you know what? Interesting about Switzerland that I'm kind of hoping for is right now, if Mexico wins the group, they get to avoid playing Brazil.
Yeah.
And in the first round in the knockout stage, they'll get to play Switzerland. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Oh, those Swiss though, they're tough.
Like a Swiss RP night?
Yeah. Yeah, they have that commercial too, but it's after the Belgium
it's after the EDM.
And at least a Swiss Army knife is useful. EDM is not useful. Maybe if I like did drugs and I listened to EDM, then that's why it's useful. It helps people on drugs enjoy their life more. I don't know. It's just not okay. Anyways, that's another rant for another time. That's on my music show, by the way.
Things Edward hates.
Yeah, every music. Friday night. Yeah, EDM music. Receivers. I just kind of talked about a little before I got off track, but now we're on time again, so we're good. But about how game flow is very important. Number ones are very important. Knowing who the other receivers are. Knowing who gets targets. Not receptions, targets. That's how many times they're actually looked at and thrown to. Receptions are important too, but targets are also important because that's volume. I always talk about volume on the show. I love volume. We love volume. Volume's important. So going on that, my list, I think we should all just do number one first and then kind of go from there until we get like after 10, and then we'll just group them up a little bit. I know, Anthony, we talked a little bit. Who's your number one?
It's going to be Mr. Consistent, AB84, Antonio Brown.
Okay, Josh, who's your number one?
I agree with him. Antonio Brown. It's got to be number one.
My number one is DeAndre Hopkins. And
What?
Yes. Here's why. Going over the research and everything, last year in the games where Deshaun Watson started before he got hurt, PPR leagues, Antonio Brown led the way in those games with the most points during that stretch. 129.3, averaging 18.5 a game, right? DeAndre Hopkins had 129.1, so only 0.2 behind him in total points in PPR. However, they had a bye week during that span. So he only played 6 games to Antonio Brown's 7, and his average was 21.5, 3 points a game more than Antonio Brown, with Deshaun Watson at the helm. If Deshaun Watson stays healthy, there's no reason with the amount of he also led the league in targets as well, DeAndre Hopkins. So there's no reason with Deshaun Watson healthy that DeAndre Hopkins doesn't become the new number 1 receiver, top dog in the league this year. I think it's going to happen. That's why I have him as my number 1 right there over Antonio Brown. Plus, Ben Roethlisberger is kind of slipping a little bit. He's not the way he used to be. And the emergence of Juju Smith-Schuster. And also, like I said, game flow with the teams they play when I expect them to be ahead and whatnot. And the bell cow of Le'Veon Bell is not the bell cow of Lamar Miller and Foreman. So I think DeAndre Hopkins is my number 1. Do I have a case for that, guys? You guys think I'm crazy?
You know, I'm not going to harp you. I'm not going to, throw wild things. It's not like you're telling me Sonny Michel is better than Jay Ajayi. So
he is.
No
he will be by the end of the way.
To argue that. I'm all for Nick. Like, I have Nook as my number 2 receiver. It's not like we're talking some big debate. I get you on the Deshaun Watson. The guy played out of this world for that 7-8 game stretch. But for him to do that again next year, I just think that is asking a lot. But Nook has proven throughout his career, regardless of Deshaun Watson throwing the football or Anthony Zaragoza throwing the football, he's going to eat. So, you know what? If you want Nook there at number 1, I'll just pick Antonio Brown right behind you.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're missing much there.
Okay.
But like you said, it's close. It's close.
Yeah. Okay. Josh, do you agree with my Hopkins over Brown, or are you still sticking with the Brown?
I'm going to stick with the Brown. I mean, I do have Hopkins just like Anthony at number 2, but I will tell you that there is a famous person who's on this radio station that always says there's a guy that has a sophomore slump. He does not like them, who is, you would say, would be Watson, right? So that's who's throwing to him. Mm-hmm. And you don't like sophomores that way. I
am not a fan of sophomores, but I am a fan of their schedule. And the fact that they're going to be throwing the ball, I feel a lot more than Pittsburgh is. And I also feel that Fuller and the rest of the receivers aren't, Juju Smith-Schuster, their running backs aren't the same. I just feel the volume there. Watson's going to have his downfall, but he's still going to throw a lot of passes. He's going to throw a lot more passes than Ben Roethlisberger is this year. So I just have that feeling. Everything I've looked at says Hopkins will be the new number 1. Take that supremacy over Brown after like 3 or 4 straight years for him. So I'm not going to fault anyone for taking Brown. I'll take Hopkins right behind you. But it's going to be interesting because we talked about last week especially in the first round with the running backs. It's going to be tough because do I really want to get Hopkins there and not get my second running back or vice versa and lose that points? But remember, a lot of leagues now have 3 receivers to 2 running backs. So it can go either way. You never know what's going to happen with receiver. I mean, people come out of nowhere, a la Adam Thielen last year. Which I'll tell you who my Adam Thielen of this year is later. So we are number 1 and number 2. I have Hopkins. You guys have Brown. After that, I'll finish up my 3, 4, 5. After you guys go first, who do you got 3, 4, 5, Anthony?
I got Odell Beckham Jr. number 3. He's a target monster in New York. Regardless of Evan Ingram's presence there. Sterling Shepard, he's going to go out there and just demand the ball from Eli. So he's my number 3 guy. Number 4, I know a lot of people are down on him, but if you take out the touchdowns, which he only had 3 last year, Julio Jones still caught 88 passes and caught over 1,400 yards receiving. I will take that any day. The touchdowns will come. Matt Ryan had an off year. But this year, will they go back to that 2016 pace? Probably not. But somewhere in the middle. So I'll give Julio maybe 6-7 touchdowns. That's a number one receiver, top 5 for sure. So I put him at number 4. And number 5, geez, man, I keep praising these Chargers. But I got Keenan Allen at number 5.
I don't know. I don't even know what they're doing. I don't even have a button for that. But just
Wow.
Yeah, I had Gordon last week, number 6, and now I got Keenan Allen, number 5.
Hey, that offense is going to be explosive, man. Let me tell you.
I don't want to talk anymore. Go ahead, Josh.
Josh, who are you next?
I got Odell. I got Michael Thomas,
Yep.
and then I got Keenan Allen at number 5.
Cool. I like that. You guys almost have mine except for one. I have Odell Beckham, then I have Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas secretly last year, and I say secretly, which is strange, but you see the amount of receptions he got last year?
Mm-hmm.
102.
No, we did not get 102. But yeah, he did 104. I'm sorry, 102 was Keenan Allen. 104 receptions. He was third behind Fitzgerald, who I think his will drop a little bit this year, obviously. And I like Michael Thomas after Odell. Odell is Odell. If he can just stay healthy and not punch things, I think he'll. I mean, have we even seen? Wait, let's think about this though. Have we seen a full year of Odell yet in the league?
Maybe his rookie season.
No, because he was injured and came in.
Then no.
Yeah.
I don't think he's played a full year yet. You know what? I may move him down on my list. I may move Michael Thomas up, and this guy, who I'm high on, who I think is a number 1 worthy, he's going to have a huge year and may even be second to touchdowns behind DeAndre Hopkins. And my number 5 is Davante Adams. I mean, how do you not have the number 1 quarterback being Aaron Rodgers and not take the number 1 guy there? Even with Jimmy Graham, and I'm not high on Jimmy Graham. We'll talk about that next week. I don't think he's only touchdown dependent. That's it. Jimmy Graham. We'll talk about that when we talk about tight ends. But Davante Adams over Keenan Allen only because there's more mouths to feed in San Diego. I'm sorry, Los Angeles. It hurts my heart. Then
let it go, Edward. Let it go.
I'm gonna be like that guy. I'm gonna cry my face paint, my Charger face paint down to Green Bay. After Davante, you have I can't think of his name right now. He's on my list. I can look him up.
his name's Randall Cobb.
Cobb, that's right. I was thinking. I know it was a 4-letter. Randall Cobb was kind of his own. He does his own little thing. And then you have Geronimo Allison and Jimmy Graham, and then running backs who you never know what you're going to get there. So I think he's going to get more production than Keenan Allen will. Keenan Allen will get the receptions, but as far as touchdowns and yards, I think Davante Adams just edges him out a little bit at my number 5, making Keenan Allen my 6 with Julio 7 and AJ Green at 8. So that's who I have in my top 8. Who do you guys have after 5? Who's your 6, 7, and 8?
I think it's kind of mixed around. Just go with your guys' list. I got Michael Thomas at 6. I got Davante Adams at 7. I got Mike Evans 8. I dropped him down a little bit, but Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's played well before in the past. If you're gonna have a backup quarterback, I think he's probably one of those top options. That's probably not saying much. You're the best of the second string guys, but he's an adequate starter. He should still move the ball. So I still see Evans getting a lot of receptions. It's going to hurt him those first couple of weeks, but not as much as some other people are doing. So I got him at number 8. I got my boy, Dougie Fresh, Doug Baldwin at number 9.
Boo.
And then
Wow.
AJ Green at 10.
Wow.
Going back to the Julio Jones thing, I want to talk about that real quick. You said that last year was a down year for Matt Ryan. I actually disagree. The year before that was an up year because last year was a typical average Matt Ryan year compared to the rest of his stats year by year. He's always been in the 20s for touchdown passes. He had roughly the same interceptions, roughly the same passing yards he's had in his career. His MVP season was actually the anomaly. So it wasn't a down year. It was a normal Matt Ryan year, and that's what I think you can expect this year. So that's why I am lower on Julio Jones than most.
Hold on. So you're telling me you're going to see a repeat performance of 3 touchdowns from Julio Jones this year?
No, he'll have more, but I'm not saying he's in my top 5. That's all. Just saying he'll have more, but he's not in my top 5. I'm higher on Devontae Adams, Michael Thomas, Odell. No, maybe not Odell as much anymore, but Brown and Hopkins than I am Julio Jones. Julio Jones, they have Calvin Ridley there now. They're going to try to give him the ball. He's not just going to return punts. There's a reason why they drafted him high. You got Sanu. You got they're going to really run the ball with that two-headed monster as well. And I just don't think he's going to – I think what you saw last year, add 3 more touchdowns. I mean, that's it. And what did he end up – like not even the top 50 overall player last year? So maybe on the edge. So is he worth the top 5 receiver tag? Nah, not in my book. Not until
I think at number 4, I got him number 4 right now, that we're talking he is late first, early second. Now, am I going to get him over, unfortunately, a Melvin Gordon or Kareem Hunt?
No.
Probably not. But could I sandwich him if I had the 11th or 12th pick back there instead of maybe Michael Thomas? I could be comfortable with that.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. I think I've seen, with the way running backs are going, Antonio Brown going 10th. I kid you not. And then DeAndre Hopkins going in the 2nd round as like a first pick. Just to show you how many running backs are going in that top. It's crazy. So you may end up with Antonio Brown and DeAndre Hopkins on a team. Worry about running backs later. I mean, points are points, right? So there's a lot of different strategies there, but yeah.
Now, does everybody in that draft that you did drink juice boxes?
Yes, Capri Suns actually.
Capri Suns? Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a draft and it's PPR and I see Antonio Brown at 10, I'm swooping him up.
Yeah. Well,
sure.
I mean, these are all mocks, but still in a mock, I mean, people are really, really getting those running backs. Boom, 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 and it's opening the door for a lot of these receivers.
Yeah, I see your point. But okay, so after Julio, I heard you snuffle at Doug Baldwin, so I'd like to hear this.
Okay, I got Doug Baldwin number 15 on my list.
What do you got, Josh?
Let's see here. Doug Baldwin. Got about 18.
Dude, I am not a Baldwin believer. I never have been, but I guess that's why I constantly get beat by him when I play the team that has him, because I never draft him. I think he's an average receiver in a good situation. And I think by them drafting that running back this year first, and Penny, I think they're really going to try to run the ball and limit Russell Wilson because he gets hurt. And Baldwin's just not, he's just a really above average receiver in a good situation. I don't see him as a number 10 receiver in the league. That's why I'm at 15. I have Evans dropped down on mine to 11 with the suspension news. Ryan Fitzpatrick was terrible in New York. He's old. He's not where he used to be. I don't think they're going to be terrible. I just don't like him. I dropped him down. Mike Evans a couple spots. I'm just higher. Here's my people I have above Doug Baldwin. After Allen, Julio Jones, AJ Green, Adam Thielen at 9, Golden Tate, Mike Evans, Larry Fitzgerald, T.Y. Hilton, Demaryius Thomas, and then Doug Baldwin on my list. And I'm also low on Tyreek Hill. I don't like his situation either. But so tell me why you have Baldwin so high there, Anthony.
Well, I guess, kind of what we were talking about before the show. Is he the most talented receiver out there? No, not even close. But once again, he's in a phenomenal situation, and he's kind of been on that cusp of kind of getting over to finally that wide receiver 1 status. And I just feel like everything has aligned this season. I think the touchdowns are going to be there for him. I think the target's going to be there for him. And at this point, I like his value coming up that spot. And I think when you're looking for that win and you're trying to go for that championship, usually everybody who's drafted in the first round is well deserved, and for the most part in the second round they are too. But what makes your team what it is what you're doing in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round. These guys who probably have some question marks, but elevates you to that next level. And I think a guy like Doug Baldwin this season, who hasn't been bad the last couple of years, he's been pretty consistent, should finally get over that hump and be that number one guy, that wide receiver one. And I think everything is aligned for him this year. Maybe it's just my gut. It's my gut than anything.
So you have him over the likes of a Golden Tate or a Demaryius Thomas on your list?
Now looking at my list, yes, I do. Yes.
Whew. You think he'll have more points than Golden Tate or Demaryius Thomas? Doug Baldwin?
I think he has a higher ceiling than Tate. I like Tate because Tate's, I have him at 11, so that's almost two spots behind him.
Similar where I have him.
Yeah, so I love him there, but I just think his potential this season, and plus I think it's a contract year for him, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that's another thing that I love. When guys are in that final year, it just seems like they have that extra motivation. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's
I think that's overrated, personally. I always have the contract year. How many times has that not worked compared to worked? I mean, look it up. I want to know. I'm going to look that up. How many contract years were their best year of their career? I don't think it's as much as people think. I think that's just one of those things that people think motivates them. What's that?
It was mine.
But you know, sometimes I think a lot of times with fantasy, especially nowadays with so much research and whatnot, you just gotta go with your gut. And my gut says Dougie there.
Right,
so if I'm drafting like right there at his spot at number 9, we're talking late second, early third. If I'm going running back the first 2 rounds and I'm looking at guys like Fitzgerald, who's still producing, but is getting up there in age, I'd hate to draft him the year he finally
got
starts
Christian
to decline.
Kirk there to help that out too. It's going to lower his production a little bit.
So it's like you got some guys there where it's like, okay, and it's like a guy like Doug Baldwin, he's been healthy, he's been consistent, and I don't know. I feel like another bet's coming on.
I'm trying to say I'll take Thielen if you take Baldwin. Because I have him as my number 9.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. Oh, well, let's keep going.
I'll keep going. All right, yeah, we're kind of getting crazy here. Josh, the top 15 there. Anyone that stands out to you, or you have higher than we haven't mentioned in your top 15?
No.
Okay. After Baldwin, I do have Tyreek Hill. I'm not a Tyreek Hill believer, especially with the quarterback situation there. I'm also not a Mahomes believer, believe it or not. If you haven't read any of my posts or anything, and everything I've been saying about him, he's not shown anything, and he's only played in a league in college or a conference that is known for putting up points. Where are all those Baylor quarterbacks at? Where are all those Baylor quarterbacks out that were putting up points? Are they starting in the NFL? Where's Petty? I don't think so. Same conference. He's just not proven. I don't like him as a player, as a person, really. He's had those off-field issues as well, and I just don't like him, but I still have him. He's talented enough to be in the top 20. I have him at 16. I have Allen Robinson at 17, now the number 1 guy in Chicago, coming off that injury. There's really no one else there. There is a rookie emerging that they really like. That is I have him, Anthony Miller, and they also have that tight end Burton, but I like him over the lines of now we start getting to some number 2s. But I like Allen Robinson to have a really good, solid year, maybe get 1,000 yards and probably 6 touchdowns. I think at number 17, that's fair. After him, I have Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm high on him. I think he takes a lot of production out of Antonio Brown this year, and he didn't really come on until like halfway through the season when they started realizing, hey, this kid has it, and I like him. So I like him there at 18, followed by Stephon Diggs. These next few, Diggs, Crabtree, Alshon Jeffrey, and Amari Cooper, I mean, in my eyes, you can put them all in a box, pull one out, and if you drafted them there at a 19, or I wouldn't blame you for it. And then I have the hit or miss Brandon Cook there next, so that's my next couple. Anyone that stands out to you, Anthony, or you have higher than I have those guys, or what do you got?
Well, I got to show some love to my Raiders. I haven't done much this whole fantasy season, but I'm high on Amari Cooper this year. I got him 15.
15.
Gruden has come. Oh yeah, 15. Yeah, 1-5 in that order.
So many hands
1-5.
to feed there. So many hands to feed. I say hands to feed, not mouths, because they're receivers. Get it?
Heyo.
Yeah. So, all right, you're high on him. I think he drops a lot of balls, and there's also the emergence of the other two receivers there are going to definitely take some looks off him. But he'll get his. I think he's a top. 20. Like I said, that group there at 19, you could put in a box and pull out. I think they're all similar production. I like Michael Crabtree. I like what I'm hearing, that he's having a really good rapport with Flacco, and I think that's what Flacco needs as a receiver, because all they keep on getting receivers that's okay. Flacco can throw the ball long, or that's what he's known for. So they keep on getting these receivers that all they do is go deep. Well, I think now having a receiver like Crabtree coming, who's more of a possession type, Flacco's going to start throwing these little short passes and hoping that, not hoping, but making better plays and better decisions, which ultimately bids well for Crabtree. And I just like his consistency that he showed in Oakland, and I think he carries that on as now the true number one there in Baltimore. So I'm kind of high on Crabtree. Are you guys as high on Crabtree as I am in that a lot of people are there?
Yeah, I got him 20. Same thing like you said, even in those 3 years with Oakland, especially the first two, he outproduced Cooper each year, rookie and sophomore season for Cooper in PPR and in standard. Scored more touchdowns than him, scored a total of 17 his first 2 years, had more receptions. So, yeah, Crabtree's a guy who he's a quarterback's best friend. When you need a play, when you need someone to run a solid route to get open in the corner of the end zone, a go route, back shoulder fade, whatever the case may be, he's that kind of guy. And like you said, Flacco's already come out during minicamp and said that he's liking that connection with him and Crabtree. It's only going to get stronger. And like you said, he can only throw so many deep patterns. And I think having a receiver like Crabtree, it's not like he was hurt last season with the Raiders. There was a lot of dysfunction going on with that team. So
surprise.
Surprise. But, it's not like Crabtree is, past his hill. The guy still has a lot of left in the tank. So I think he's going to have a really good year there. So I'm kind of agreeing with it.
Mm-hmm. So now we're getting, as we talk, into who would be like your number two receiver here in these, if you're in a standard 10-person league, at 20, then you got your 1 and 2s there. And even in a 12, now we're into some 3s or beyond. One guy, I have Brandon Cooks right after that with LA. I think he'll do better than Watkins did, but Watkins has a problem developing with any type of receiver. It's really weird. He's shown it, both places he's been to, and I just don't think, if you can't develop a rapport with Goff, but Woods and Kupp can his rookie year, it's not Goff, it's you. You know what I mean? I understand Tyrod Taylor. More on him in a minute. But, come on. I just don't think Watkins really has it, and I think Cooks likes the opportunity. I think he feels a little upset about New England letting him go over there to the Rams, and I think he's going to have a really good year. This could be too low for him. But with all the names we just mentioned who are more consistent, or we know what they're going to be, is I think Cooks fits right here. My next guy, who I think is this year's Adam Thielen, is Emmanuel Sanders. And here's why I say this year's Emmanuel Sanders, or this year's Adam Thielen. He's going really low, where a few years ago he was high. That's not like Thielen. Thielen kind of came out of nowhere. But Emmanuel Sanders is the exact type of receiver, mold, route runner, everything that Adam Thielen is. And now who's the quarterback for Denver? Case Keenum. Who made Adam Thielen? Case Keenum. Case in point. Boom.
I think you needed that sci-fi background.
I know.
And who's his quarterback now? Case Keenum.
If you can get Emmanuel Sanders, where I'm seeing him being your third receiver this year, then I think he's going to end up producing that number 2 value on that team. I just think he's what Case Keenum likes. So I am really high on him. I think his value, his ADP is really low. So I'm high on him. What do you guys think about that? And also Brandon Cooks and some of these other ones. Josh, you got anything?
Yes, I do. I think Emmanuel Sanders. I agree with you. He always produces every year, and it kind of shows. Like he had a certain rapport. Um, it doesn't matter who his quarterback is. He kind of goes out of his way to go practice with that quarterback. Goes that extra length. So I agree with you on that. Um, and if we're going to go with the whole Amari Cooper thing, I'm going to say that, yeah, I think Jordy really cuts into that, but I think they both produce very well together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have
Attaboy, Josh.
I have Jordy Nelson pretty low. I have him at 45.
That's okay.
Yeah, but that's because
Hey, you know what? You know what? I show the Chargers love. You need to show some love too.
I said I like Derek Carr over Mahomes. There you go.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
A lot of love.
Yes, I think he's the second best quarterback in that division. There you go.
Holy mo! Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, now we get to the curious case of the Browns. You got Landry there now. You got Josh Gordon. I actually have them right next to each other because you never know what Tyrod is going to do. Tyrod has never had the ability to pick a good rapport again with a receiver. He's never really shown it, and we don't even know who the real Tyrod is. So how am I going to trust these guys? As you know, Landry's been going high. I know he led the league in receptions last year. On that Miami team with, I don't know how he did, but he did. But that Cleveland team with the running backs they have, but again, it's going to be a Cleveland team, like I say, that's always coming from behind. They say Tyrod Taylor's going to have a long leash. I don't believe it. I think Josh Allen gets thrown in there. Sorry, not Josh Allen. Wrong team. Not Josh Allen, but
Baker Mayfield.
Mayfield, that's right. Mayfield gets thrown in there at some point. I just don't think. I mean, Tyrod Taylor got benched last year for a guy who came in and threw 5 interceptions. Come on.
I'm with also Justin on this one. I'm with that Devontae Parker look.
Yeah, I was going to talk. He's actually next on my list. Devontae Parker, he's like the last true number one. Well, I have, after Landry and Gordon, then I have Marvin Jones, Chris Hogan, and Devontae Parker. Kind of another group where throw your hat in there and pick one out. A lot of people think that Chris Hogan is going to magically, because Edelman, I know he appealed it today. We'll find out what happens. It's going to be, he'll eventually miss the games, people. It's going to be an Ezekiel Elliott situation. Yeah, he may play week 1, but eventually he's going to miss those games. He's not going to win. So Hogan still is on the field the same amount of time, whether Edelman's in there or not. So I don't think anything happens. I think it's the same Hogan you're going to get this year. If anyone benefits and you want to pick someone up maybe late who you can use for those suspensions, it's going to be Jordan Matthews. That's the guy who's going to benefit the most from, in that receiving core, from him missing. So if anything, Jordan Matthews could be a steal, not really a steal, but a good flex play for 4 weeks. That's it. So Chris Hogan's going to be Chris Hogan. He's not going to get anything extra. Trust me on that one. And I think a lot of people, Justin also mentioned Funches. Funches. Besides having a pretty awesome name, I am not too high on Funches. And I think the reason is this. He drops a lot of balls, right? He had his time when Olsen went out and he was producing, and then he stopped producing, and they went out and they got DJ Moore. Why did they go get DJ Moore if I think DJ Moore really hurts Funches, and I think DJ Moore ends up being maybe the number 1 guy there by the end of the year, or at least 50-50. I don't think Funches is a sleeper. A lot of people have him as a sleeper. I have him as a bust, straight up. I'll say it right now. Funches is a bust. Bust. There is no fun in Funches this year. Just bust. There should be bunches, bustches, whatever. Boom. I said it. Believe in DJ Moore. Pick him up. Some other guys here. Let's talk about the Jacksonville situation real quick. Alan Hearn's leaving for Cowboys. I don't know what they're going to do there. I'm not a big fan of Prescott throwing the ball to anyone not named Des Bryant, so I'm not high on him there. But who's the number 1 receiver now who you think it could end up being Austin Seferian-Jenkins? We'll talk about that next week. But who's the number 1 receiver there with the departure of those 2 guys?
if I'm gonna have to put my bang on anything, and especially at his current ADP, which is in the 10th round, so it's not like it's costing you a lot. I've been drafting Marquez Lee a bunch in my leagues because I feel like he's gonna be that de facto number one guy for sure.
Josh, you think it's going to be Lee? You think one of these other guys comes through and becomes the number one?
I think it's possibly going to be one of these other guys. You got probably like a D.D. Westbrook or something.
Bing, ding, ding. I don't have a ding thing, but I do. That's who I have. D.D. Westbrook. There's a reason they got him. Marcus Lee doesn't really fit the mold of what that team wants to do, and Westbrook does. Is a run first, throw the ball over the top. Lee is more of a possession guy. He's going to get, the 7 receptions for 30 yards. Where Westbrook is going to be over the top. They're going to be run, throw it over the top. He's going to get more yards. He's going to get more touchdowns that way too. I think Westbrook will give you the most points out of all 3 of those receivers on that Jacksonville squad. But like I said, Austin Seferian-Jenkins may end up being the best of the bunch when it's all said and done by the fact of how much they want to run the ball and what Blake Bortles can actually deliver there. But back to Josh's point real quick, Devontae Parker. Now, without Landry there, I like your pick there, Josh. He should be higher than he actually is going because he's like the last true number one going off of people's boards, and I like him there. And it is Tannehill, but everything else about that team is just really bad. Their running game, their offensive line, every other receiver on the team. I don't. He's going to get the volume, but can Tannehill actually get him the ball is the question. I think that's why he drops down a little bit. But I think he's always been this sleeper. He's going to do it. This is going to be the year. Last year, for a few weeks, he showed promise. Then he fell off. I think this is the year that he actually does more of a consistent value in return from where he's getting drafted. Do you agree with that, Anthony?
No, yeah, I'm kind of not saying big on Parker. I think at its current ADP, you're talking 7th, 8th round. Sometimes a little higher, maybe 6. At that point, when I'm doing my drafting, I've probably filled already my starting wide receivers, running back. So now I'm looking at maybe a possible flex option. And someone like Parker gives that a high upside. 2 years ago when Tannehill was healthy, him and Parker had a nice little connection. He started feeding him the ball more. I think he had 6 touchdowns that year in 16.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had over 50 receptions. So there was a chemistry building. Tannehill obviously was done all last year. So I think this year they kind of rekindle that magic again a little. I think Parker develops a little more. And he kind of has that same feel like a Corey Davis with Tennessee, where, it's a guy who's talented, big, fast, and you just keep waiting for it to be that year. And I think a guy like Parker, kind of a guy like Corey Davis, think this is their year to kind of step into that wide receiver 2 status for a fantasy team. So if you put it later on,
breaking up a little bit.
7th round, where it's not
breaking up.
There it is. Hello. You're doing it on purpose, huh? Because I'm making sense.
That's it. Every time you make sense, I have a thing here. It's called a make sense filter. Every time Anthony makes sense, I just press it and it blurs you out.
Is that why you only used it once?
Oh no, I just got it working yesterday. So.
Oh, I just burned it myself. But no, I think it's just that de facto number one like Parker and Corey Davis. I think this is the year they kind of get it going and become a possible maybe wide receiver 2 for some of your teams. So the price tag I love. You're not losing a lot.
Yeah, these are backups, guys. These are backups you want to get and just hope that they become a good one here, I think. Well, Parker, I think you can get as a number 3 or even like a flex play. Some of the other ones, like we mentioned, like D.D. Westbrook, you don't want it. You don't want D.D. Westbrook as your number 3. Okay, he's more of like a bench player that you hope when you get to this area. Now they do have Kenny Stills on that Miami team still as well. So he had a really good year last year. So what we're going to do real quick is I'm going to name receivers who had good years last year kind of out of nowhere. And I want you guys to tell me if you think they're going to do it again or is it a 1-year wonder. Do you guys ready to play?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Robert Woods for the Rams. Does he do it again or was it a 1-year wonder?
1-year wonder.
I don't want to say 1-year wonder, but yeah, I'm going to have to agree with it.
I disagree. I think with that offense and Goff and even with Kupp there as well, I think he produces maybe similar results. I don't think he'll outdo it, but I don't think he'll drop too far down. I think he's you could depend on him as a number 3 or a flex. if you wanted to in that offense because they're going to put up a lot of points. Nelson Aguilar.
I believe it.
Yeah.
So you guys believe it, even with the addition of Mike Wallace there, huh? You believe that Nelson Aguilar is still going to have the same type of year?
Mike who?
Mike Wallace.
Mike, is that a fullback?
You know who Mike Wallace is?
No, Mike Wallace. What is he now? Like 35?
Yeah, he's pretty old. No, actually, I don't think he's that old. Let's look up Mike Wallace's age real quick and just try to figure it out.
Yeah, I'll take
too long.
Mike Wallace.
He is 31, believe it or not. It feels like he's been in the
but
league for 20 years, but he's only 31 years old.
Wow. No, I like Nelson. I think not only was he a good big play guy, but he caught a lot of passes over the middle. And I think he's only building a strong connection with Wentz. And the thing is with Alshon, their number one, he just always gets hurt. So he's going to miss some time. And Nelson really stepped in when Jeffrey was kind of banged up. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that connection they had with him.
Okay. Yeah, I think he produces. I mean, with Wentz at the helm and everything, I think I'm with you guys. I think that's a big offense. He's really cemented himself as the number two. And Mike Wallace will probably, he just fills that Torrey Smith role. So it's really not adding anything there. Robbie Anderson for the Jets.
You know what? I'm a believer.
Ooh, believer Robbie Anderson. Is he the true number one there now?
I guess at the moment, but, they have Quincy, who I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, who was hurt all last year. What was his name, Josh?
Enunwa.
That's how you pronounce it?
Enunwa.
Yes. Say it again?
Enunwa.
Laurel.
Is it Laurel or Yanni?
Laurel.
I heard Robbie Anderson.
Enunwa. Yeah. So I think, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think he's at this moment, but then not like it's saying much, but they did sign, Terrell Pryor to a 1-year deal after his just disastrous year in Washington last year. So yeah, there's a lot of different guys in New York, but Robbie Anderson, I picked him up in one of my leagues last year, and he stepped in really nice. Like he produced pretty dang good in his games last season. So even then, like we're talking about earlier, his price tag, you're not drafting him to be your starter. So if you're going to pull a name out of hat, I'm going to use him just because he did it last year. And if he does produce, great. You got a good flex option, possibly a guy for your bye weeks. And if he doesn't, well, he'll be your first guy you drop when you do a waiver wire pickup week 1. So
okay, cool. All right, we're going to play sleeper or bust. I'm going to name a player. You tell me if he's going to be either a sleeper or produce this year or if he's going to be a bust. Josh Gordon, just real quick.
Sleeper.
Bust.
I'm with you. I say bust there as well, especially with the addition of Landry and Tyrod Taylor. Jamison Crowder.
Bust.
Sleeper.
I say sleeper. I think that's the type of receiver that Alex Smith wants. One of those short game possession receivers. I think that he's going to get a lot more action there with Alex Smith at the helm. What do you guys... I guess we'll finish the sleeper or bust. You've already mentioned, mentioned him too, Corey Davis.
Oh, sleeper for sure.
Yeah.
Sleeper here. Mike Williams.
Bust.
I'm going to say bust.
He's going to get traded. That's how much I know.
What? I'm going to say sleeper. I'm going to say he gets more receptions with a Hunter Henry injury and becomes the true number 2 there, even with Tyrell and Travis Benjamin. Sleeper or bust on Randall Cobb.
Sleeper.
Sleeper.
I say sleeper as well there too. I don't have any faith in Geronimo Allison being an everyday player. Sammy Watkins.
Bust.
Bust as well.
I think he's going to get injured.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
I think so too.
Going out on a limb there, Josh.
All right, here's a name that died. Kelvin Benjamin.
Kelvin Benjamin.
I'm going to say sleeper because of his current ADP.
I'm with you there. I like it. Pierre Garçon. He's still the number 1 there in San Francisco.
Exactly. For that very point, he's a sleeper this year.
Okay. Michael Gallup, the rookie for Dallas. Are you guys a believer or a sleeper or bust?
I'm a believer.
Oh, I'm a believer too.
Yeah, I believe it too. There's no Alan Hearns isn't that great, and I think Gallup gets a lot of looks there. Christian Kirk, the rookie for Arizona.
Oh, I love Kirk. A sleeper for sure.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah. Okay. I had more, but they're on the next page. 1 second here. Okay. I was going to mention. Yeah. Tyrell Pryor is on my list as well. We've already kind of talked about him. We don't really know what's going on there. I say bust. I don't think he's really a receiver. So, with that being said, anybody else that we haven't named that you guys are high on, like, you know who mine is already. Mine is Mr. Tre'Quan Smith from New Orleans. I think Cameron Meredith is not that great. He was good when he was forced into action as the number one in Chicago, but I think they went up and got him in the third round for a reason, and Tre'Quan Smith becomes the number 2 receiver in New Orleans. I always tell everyone to pick him up before they pick him off the waivers. Is there anyone else that you guys like that we haven't named that you guys are high on?
Who I kind of like late in the draft, so I've kind of picked up in my best ball leagues, Tyler Lockett, the new number 2 in Seattle. Now that Paul Richardson's gone, I think it adds some more targets to him. It's not like he's going to be producing at some wide receiver 2 status, but I think he could potentially be a really strong flex option for you. And if I believe that Seattle offense is going to still play pretty well, I think they're going to need a number 2 behind my boy Dougie. So I like Lockett this year, especially at his price.
Yeah, Josh, anyone you like?
I mean, if you're going to talk about number 2s, you got to go with a guy who's been pretty darn good for Detroit, a guy named Marvin Jones.
Yeah, I had him in my number 26 receiver. Yeah, I like him, and I like him, but I think Golladay cuts into his touchdown production this year. And with Golden Tate the way he is, I just not too high on him, but I guess where he's being drafted, I think is the right spot for him. So, but I could, he can end up being he's capable of being a beast, but he's also capable of doing those, one reception for 45 yards type of games where he kind of disappears. But yeah, he should be on your draft boards, though. We should have mentioned him, so you are right there. I'm not high on Calvin Ridley at all. I saw that in Justin's comment here. There's too many mouths to feed there. I think they're going to try to utilize him, but I think mostly you'll see him return kickoffs and punts. Besides that, I mean, we're out of time, but we didn't really talk about anybody else in Cincinnati besides AJ Green. There really isn't no one that you should be drafting anyways.
No.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about anyone in Indianapolis besides T.Y. Hilton. With luck back, looks like he will be back, but good luck there. One other guy I really like too for San Francisco is Dante Pettis, the rookie out of Washington. I think he could step up and be a good. I mean, they have Marquise Goodwin and no one else. He could end up being a waiver pickup. I don't say draft him, but be weary of it and be the first one on your waivers when he does have that good week. Cincinnati does have John Ross, but I'm not there either. So that's about it, guys. I mean, there's really no one else we could try to sell you on or tell you that's going to be a bust, except for do not draft Doug Baldwin as your top 10 receiver. Oh, I got to do this real quick. All right, guys. Hey, do you guys like playing fantasy football?
Oh, I love it.
Dude, Josh, I know you do.
Of course they do.
But I also love drafting. It's one of my favorite things to do. I've already started. I've done best balls. I've done mock drafts. And I love drafting so much, but I also like to win. So I have to draft like a winner to win. So that's why I go to FantasyAlarm.com and get their draft guide because it's the best. It's number 1 in the industry for a reason. It has everything you need. It has the best rankings, the boldest predictions. It has strategies. They're already releasing their sleepers, their busts, their rookies. They just released their free agency report, which talks about why Allen Robinson will succeed in Chicago and why Jimmy Graham will not in Green Bay, and more to come. They also have a full best ball draft guide and all this stuff. And guess what? You get it 50% off if you go to fantasyalarm.com/draft now. Use code CHAMPION and get 50% off instantly. Plus, you get the ultimate cheat sheet, and as a bonus offer, you will also get all the seasonal features and articles for free. Boom, all season long, all the way to your championship. That's right. Oh, man, I can listen to this song forever. I'm feeling it. So go to Fantasy Alarm, guys. and get the draft guide and enjoy, because it's a lot of information, and it's the best way to actually dominate your draft and make everyone you're drafted with look silly. As long as you're not going to the same draft with everyone else has the same draft guide, then it gets a little odd. But, hey, it's the best in the business. Okay, guys, we are way over time because there's so many receivers. Receivers are the first that always get picked up off the waiver wires like crazy, so be wary of it. Like we said, study your teams, study where you think they're going to place in their rankings, so you know who's going to be throwing more, who's going to be running more, and get these guys that we tell you, and don't get the guys that we tell you not to get, because there's a reason for it. All right, guys, you guys got any plugs real quick?
No, just the usual. You can follow me on Twitter at Zaragoza Anthony. Got a lot of fantasy stuff out right now for Dynasty Football Factory. Got some rated articles out as well. So check me out on Twitters. Also,
Twitters.
And also check everything else Fantasy Alarm has. You know, it's awesome stuff.
What do you got, Josh?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter, Jay Stanhill, and like both these gentlemen said, Fantasy Alarm, play and win. That
is it. And also, guys, do not boo a player before you see him play. Don't do it.
Boo that man.
Don't do it. All right, guys, we will see you next Monday. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the World Cup. Enjoy baseball. Enjoy the College World Series, which now will start tomorrow after the rain out. I'm looking forward to it. Go Oregon State. Boo. Go Oregon State. We'll see you next week, guys. Have a good week. Bye.